Hello, my name's Ivan Tisdall-Downes and we're here at Native Restaurant in Worcestershire. Today we're going to be cooking salt-aged Creedy Carver duck with smoked flaming barrel beetroot and duck heart. So to start with, we're going to break down our salt-aged duck. First of all, we're moving the wing tips for our stock. You know, at Native and at many restaurants, you know, the idea is to be nose to tail, use every single part of the animal. Nothing goes to waste. So the legs are coming off, and these are going to be put to use in our second dish, along with the berry char siu that we foraged for earlier. And there we get to the duck to a point where we think it's presentable to the guests. Remove any last little fine feathers, a little blowtorch on the skin. So from here we're just going to put it in the freezer to firm up the fat, ready to score. So this has been in the freezer for about half an hour, 40 minutes. Just firmed up the fat. So what I'm going to do now is score it nicely, help the fat render, but also gives it a wonderful visual effect when we serve it. With a nice sharp knife, just literally letting the blade just touch the skin almost, not putting any pressure on. So this is a duck from fridge temperature. I'm going to put it into the oven, 230-degree oven, for about 12 minutes. We want the temperature to get to about 45 to 48 degrees. So this is the basis of the duck sauce. This is all the raw trim from when I prepped the duck into a pan with stock veg, some tomato puree, red wine, and all the duck carcasses. From here we'll make a nice sort of duck duck stock, and then after we carve the duck, we'll finish it we'll turn it into a pan sauce effectively with the roasted duck carcass. So while the duck's roasting, we're going to make the glaze. We're fortunate enough to be able to use our own Neverwood honey to make this kind of sticky, spicy glaze for the duck. So we're going to take 40 grams of the honey, and that goes with 10 ml of water, and then half a teaspoon of our native 5 spice, which has 7 spices in it. So what we try to do over the years at Native is recreate our dry store. So where we have, instead of using black peppercorn, we'll try and use Alexander seed. Instead of using coriander seed, we'll use hog seed as much as we can, or use a little bit of that coriander seed to help boost that hog seed flavour and mask that kind of slightly synthetic toilet cleaner flavour. But eventually a dream would be to have an entirely foraged dry store where we can. So yeah, so we just kind of heat it through to loosen the honey, where this is a very kind of natural honey. It still has a little bit of the wax in it. It's good to kind of help melt it all down. Then we just slightly reduce it to remove that sort of 10 ml of water that we put in. We want to get rid of that again. And the heat will just help infuse the honey with the spice. So these are the flaming barrel beetroots that we use on our duck main course dish. These are a variety that I came across when I worked in New York at Blue Hill Farm. So these are called flaming badger beetroots, whereas we call them flaming barrel beets. They are an orange-yellow beetroot bred to be slightly sweeter and a lot less earthy. So on the dish we smoke them and make a nice puree with some cream and butter. And the sweetness really lends that sort of sweet, smoky flavour. Works really, really well with salty duck. And also, because they're so beautiful and they are a unique breed of beetroot, we serve just a piece of the beetroot, which is lightly confit in the duck fat, and just some sea salt, so you can have the beetroot in its purest form. So the gardeners have kind of located this seed and grown it specifically for us in the garden. We only grew 2 rows of them, so this is the very end of the season. What you're seeing here is the last of what we got. Next year we're going to plant a lot more. So these are the flaming barrel beets that we picked from the garden. Just going to remove the tops, to go in the compost. Then we give them a light wash. We pick the nice ones out that we keep for the presentation beetroots, and the larger ones will get chopped so they cook evenly. Slowly roasted, 180 degrees for about an hour and 20. So then we take the whole beetroot, we put it into some of the rendered duck fat. Obviously we have loads of this from all the ducks that we use, so we try and use it as much as possible. We hold it at about 60 degrees, and then it gets taken out of the fat and carved, served to the customer. So these are the beetroots we just removed from the smoker. They've been smoked quite intensely for about 20 minutes. We're going to be using apple wood to kind of get that sort of sweet, fruity smoke. Next we just want to peel off any of the skins, take off any of the gnarly bits, and then they go into the blender. We add cream, milk and some butter, blend it till we get a nice emulsified puree. If it looks like it's splitting, you can add a little bit of xanthan gum, and we finish with with 25 ml of rapeseed oil, again just to help bind that emulsion. Next we're going to take this Neverwood honey and native spice, 5-spice, 7-spice glaze. Just lightly brush it. That's why it's resting, we just give it a couple of brushes. So this is our duck presentation plate. And we put a lot of effort into cooking this duck perfectly, so we go out and present it to the guests. The decoration of the plate is inspired by the wild meadows where our beehives are. You know, the types of flowers that the bees will harvest to produce our honey. So the duck goes onto the plate, out to the guests, explain about the sautéed duck process, explain how we cook it, bring it back, we carve and present it to them on the plate. So once the duck's been carved, we take the carcasses from the service, chop them up a wee bit so they fit into the pan. Then add the bones to the pan, just getting a bit more caramelisation and colour on them. So next we're going to deglaze the pan with a little bit of our Neverwood Estate damson gin. So this is made a couple of years ago, I think. Yep, 27th December last year. So we're going to deglaze the pan and then add a little bit of duck jus, some aromats and finish the sauce. So next we're going to go with the duck jus, as we saw cooking away, made from all the bones and left over from the butchery. So I'm just going to add the herbs. Obviously we've got the luxury of being able to pick them right outside our kitchen door, to let those infuse in, and then we'll strain. Just before we serve, we add our chopped chives. So next we're going to prep our duck hearts. As I mentioned, we try and use all parts of the animal. They're going to go into an 8% salt brine. After that we take them out, give them a light rinse, pat them dry, and onto the barbecue. And then lastly we've got a bit of this endive from the garden, this just to kind of wilt it a little bit, then brush it with some of the duck fat and some of the honey glaze. So that's all the components of this dish prepared, and now we're ready to carve and plate. So firstly we're going to take the breast off of the duck, brush the skin with a little bit more of the honey and 5-spice glaze, and we're going to carve a nice portion per plate. We're also going to slice the duck heart onto the plate. We're going to put a circle of the marigold fluid gel, a spoon of the smoked barrel flame beetroot puree, the duck heart, endive, and the piece of duck breast. And finally, we're going to slice the comfy flaming barrel beetroot and place it into the charred beetroot skin before taking the plate to the table and adding the duck sauce. And there we have the salt-aged Creedy Carver duck with smoked flaming barrel beetroot and marigold vinegar gel.